tattoo. And then he also went ahead and posted sort of 2 other sort of process pieces he did leading up to the first one. We'll show those off first, I guess. It's kind of some like bird studies, obviously some Asian influenced like backgrounds, like in imagery. You do see a lot of like the cloud designs and stuff in like Japanese tattoos. And that's that second piece. And a really nice head study on this one too, man.
I know, this bird head study is really good. And I actually really like the design of this one, this practice piece abs. I think that looks really cool. Right, let me click into this so you can kind of see
Quick note, Aggie said I got some references pulled up already. Great help, thanks. Awesome.
Oh, good. I'm glad it was helpful for you, Aggie. I'm glad it was helpful for you. Okay, so that is Ab's original piece. Let me go ahead and pull up the red line that we did on this one.
Oh yeah, let me get the red lines. That's the original Ab's piece right there. Let me get the red line.
It's kind of hard to manage all this, huh?
Yeah, it's a little tricky.
Oh, let me pull this up, and then let me pull up the notes on this too.
Yeah, it's weird. We're like kind of managing a lot of shit right now.
It's a lot of like balancing at the moment. So thank you guys for we'll probably figure out a way to make it a little bit more streamlined in the future. But this is sort of where we're at. So we actually have quite a bit of notes on yours, Abs. I think it's a really cool design. I think you did a super freaking fantastic job with the bird. Especially like the detailing of the face, and I love the way the peacock feathers are coming out of there. I think this will be a really cool one for you to revisit too, because I know like your level of skill is a lot higher than where this current piece is at. But just sort of some general notes with this one. One thing I think that will really sell this piece a lot is playing around with your line weights. In particular, and I kind of started to do it on the red line part, is just like doing a darker or like a thicker, bolder line around the outside of the bird. Because that way the bird will stand out from against the background elements. Also, it will help sort of sell like the more smooth shape that you have to the wings, because normally like if you draw a bird's wings like on a more sort of like realistic level, you would draw the feathers over here in like an overlapping sense, so like part of it would stick out as it's being overlapped, right? But you kind of went for like the
outer edge contour.
Erica, you can get timed out here too.
Wow.
But yeah, so you went for more of the tattoo style with just like a very smooth edge and no bumps or ridges to define the overlapping feathers. So I actually think having like a thicker line to it will help sell that look a lot more too.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is, I mean, you said that you were inspired by the Hanzo design, the dragon, like in like the clouds. I think it's a lighting element that's sort of like jagged edge in the background of Hanzo. Hanzo's design is basically that cloud and lightning or energy element with a dragon kind of traveling downwards. So I think to kind of touch on what Pam is saying, like getting some cohesiveness with line weight. Because right now I feel like the bird is rendered to such a degree where it kind of feels stuck on top of the actual background. It doesn't have like a kind of like a chemistry. It doesn't feel cohesive together, the two elements themselves. So I think especially outer edge line weights would go a long way to getting that sort of like sticker tattoo graphic kind of look, which I think would be really fucking cool actually. We actually had a critique or we had a conversation about the orientation of your drawing. So if you notice, we kind of rotated the image kind of facing upwards instead of downwards. So we don't actually know what the intended picture was when you posted it kind of facing down. So there was a little bit of confusion in that sense.
we were trying to decide if the image just wasn't rotated correctly, or if it was more so reflecting, because so Hanzo's dragon tattoo goes down his arm, and so the head of the dragon is actually closer to the wrist. So given we kind of just decided to go that direction, and if that's the wrong direction, then you can totally disregard this part of the feedback. But if that is the intent and the bird is sort of like flying down someone's arm, one thing we were thinking that you might, or that we're suggesting, is changing the way the wings are. Because right now, the way the wings are formatted, it feels like the bird is taken off. So it's like the bird is like going up and about to fly into the air and stuff. It doesn't totally feel like a dive. You know,
Yeah.
with the Hanzo dragon tattoo, there's a lot of wiggle room because it's such a long type of creature, right? So they don't have as much. They don't have to compact all of the movement into
Sure.
something that's smaller. And especially like when birds dive, their wings tend to like fold in more and get very, very sharp towards the back. So if you want to sort of sell that diving view, then we would suggest changing the wings. However, I actually really love the orientation this way.
Yeah, me too.
I think it looks really cool, and I could actually see it as being like a chest tattoo, and it like going across over here and heading up into, you know, this side of the body. But however you want to sort of incorporate that.
Yeah, so it kind of touches back to the idea of design though. So it because it is kind of closely cropped, like some of the tail feathers are kind of cut off, some of the cloud and like the energy elements are being cropped as well. It's kind of hard to get a read on, I guess, the initial intention of it. So doing a really heavily designed, I mean, generally speaking, like a tattoo piece like this, I'm going to call it a tattoo piece because I can definitely see it on like a chest like Pam was talking about too. You want to really kind of consider just the composition and cropping too, and making sure those elements are all on board and like sort of, and not feeling it's kind of cramped on here. Because like I kind of want like that tip of the feather, for example, fully rendered. The canvas right feather tip here, fully rendered. I want like the edge of the cloud and that lightning bolt there, and I want the tail feathers fully realized and rendered out too. So I think there's something to be said, just making sure. And again, it might just be the way the picture was taken. There might actually be more done on the canvas, but we're not seeing it. But when you're doing a heavy design kind of piece like this, you really want to consider the overall cropping of it too, because it does actually impact the overall kind of feel of it. App says it was old pic, couldn't find the original to scan it. I got you.
Yeah, we weren't sure. We weren't sure, so we kind of just sort of ran with what was presented, and obviously if we're wrong, you can just disregard that portion of it. But I mean, either way, it's a really cool piece, Abs, and I think you redrawing it now, it's gonna be pretty fucking kick-ass.
Yeah, man. I'm pretty stoked for this. Like, your work's always killer, man. Like, did you talk about the leg at all or not?
I didn't. I drew that in, and then I think I forgot to actually write a note on it. But one of the things that that got tweaked in the red line was just the anatomy of the bird, and this one felt like the leg was a little bit too high. But it also makes it and then also like this sort of keeping in mind like the way a bird's anatomy is sort of built. Like it's never, unless it's like, I mean, even storks really, unless they have like really, really long legs, like their joints and stuff are pretty prominent, and like it's not necessarily going to go super straight. Whereas I felt like both of your legs were very, very rigid. So just adding like slight bends here and there, I think will add a lot of life to it too.
Yeah, I think so too. But there's a lot to like here, man. I think really just analyzing the overall design and getting that sort of background matching to it doesn't have to be detailed to the same level, but just I think line weights. I think going back to the very beginning of the critique, line weight in the background is going to be crucial because that's really going to sell the overall kind of cohesive image, I think. But this piece is fucking rad, man. Hope that helped out a little bit. That was actually one of the trickier critique, I think.
Yeah, I think we actually saved this one like last or second to last.
Yeah, it's really good though. Like I'm looking forward to it, man.
Way to challenge us, Abs. Gosh.
I know, right? What's up, Chris?
Hi, Chris.
All right, so moving on, we got Algernon Bleu.